Hey everybody, Greg Poole, Bow Junkie Media, bowjunkiemedia.com. It's time for another podcast. We hope everybody out there is having a great week. I know it's only Tuesday thus far, but it's basically summertime and things are going swimmingly. There was a World Cup last weekend. Thank you folks for tuning into the podcast the other day with Ella. She won the compound female. Today's guest, for those of you that are watching the video, can see who it is already. For those of you that cannot, let me just say this. First of all, he's a really nice guy. He's got a good sense of humor. He doesn't take himself too seriously, and I've always enjoyed our conversations in person. But let me tell you this right now. If you don't have this gentleman on your GOAT list, especially like he's competitive everywhere he goes, period. Reading, field, the dude can just throw it down. When it comes to indoors and FIDA, if you don't have him on your FIDA and indoor Mount Rushmore, you need to be drug tested. He's absolutely one of the greatest indoor shooters we've ever seen, and unequivocally one of the best outdoor FIDA shooters we've ever seen. And he's still relatively young. By my standards anyway, but I'm old. But he is absolutely going to be in every GOAT conversation that's going to be had. Like I said, especially when it comes to indoors and outdoor FIDA, but he's competitive in everything. Indoors and outdoor FIDA, he kind of has separated himself. And that's hard to do these days. I mean, we've seen it over the years with some incredibly talented people. And so today's guest, of course, has started to etch himself on the Mount Rushmore of that. So from the Netherlands, it's Mike Schloesser. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. Hi there, everybody.
Yes,
Mm.
absolutely. So first of all, we can talk about congratulations on the gold medal. You got
Mhm.
a bunch of those. We can talk about the victories and the world
Mhm.
records and all that stuff's all fine and good.
Mhm.
However, I think the biggest accomplishment of your life to this point was the birth of your first child, Luna. So
Yeah,
congratulations on that, Dad.
thank you
Welcome
very
back.
much. Yeah, it's really cool. It's very exciting. So I've been a dad for about 7 weeks now, and it changed my life. Like I always thought it was a cliche. Like you hear like stories like, oh, meet like wait until you meet her for the first time, and wait until you do this, wait until you do that. And I was always thought like, yeah, yeah. But like to be honest, like 100% true. All the cliches are 100% true.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. I mean, there is, I don't care what anyone says, you can say what you want, but so let me ask this. No details, of course.
Uh-huh.
You were in the delivery room.
Yes, I was.
So you actually watched the whole process.
I did, and I always told like I'm gonna be here like support, but that's it, you know. But at the end, I yeah, things change, and you just go into like a mood, and you just do like you do everything that's needed to help your wife go through it. So
Absolutely. Is that not the most wild thing to witness ever in history or what?
yeah, it is. I yeah, it was definitely life changing.
Yeah, for sure. And so let's just talk about, and you have had some incredible experiences in the game, winning
Hmm.
Vegas and m more than once, by the way, folks. Um, all of the other things that you have done on the world stage in archery has required you to maintain your composure.
Hmm.
Like you can't get super emotional out there shooting. You can, I mean, so you have to keep things. I did like seeing you when you won this weekend, let that emotion out and do the fist
Yeah.
pump and that kind of stuff. That was cool
Yep.
to
Yep.
see. So, and there is no comparison between winning an archery event and having a child.
Hmm.
However, what I would like you to talk about is you are a very composed person on the, like we all see when you win, you're very composed. What was Mikey Slosher like when Luna was born though?
The first thing what I did when I saw her was just bawling, bawling, bawling. Like I couldn't stop it, couldn't control it. But I
Yep.
just you see her for the first time and you're like, yeah, you just like you can imagine it. Like it's an amazing feeling and it's definitely like I said, like a life changing event.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and you're right. There is no stopping the crying. There is no
No.
stopping the tears. It is beyond your control.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how hard you try, it just makes it worse.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Completely true. And I was really happy because I, of course, went to the World Cup in Shanghai, and my wife was 39 weeks pregnant at the time. So I was really happy to be back home and be able to witness it. So it was a lot of stress when I was there in Shanghai, but at the moment I touched land at home, I knew like, okay, now I'm calm and I'm gonna be there and everything's settled. And a couple days later, I was a dad.
There you go. So, how's the sleep schedule been this last several weeks?
I think she has a little bit of my composure, so it's nice. She sleeps through the night already, so like we're really lucky. Like during the day, it's a lot of hassle. She likes to be in arms, so during the day, it's a tough to handle her. But during the night, she goes to bed around 10:30, 11, and then she sleeps till like 7, 8 in the morning. So that's really nice.
You have no idea how lucky you
Mhm.
are.
I know. I've talked to a lot of people, and everybody was jealous. Let me say it like that. And but like, it's nice. Like, as long as your nights are good, like you're like wake up with like a little like reasonably fresh. It's nice to be to able to shoot some arrows in as well.
Absolutely. No, that so do you guys plan on having more kids, or are you going to be one and done, or what's the plan?
Nah, I definitely think we're gonna have more, but I think it's gonna be after the LA Olympics. So my wife and me both want to go there. So I think it's gonna be our focus. Uh, to see if we can manage it with Luna at the moment, and then after that, we definitely planning on have another one.
Nice. Take her everywhere with you. Bring
Oh, we are
her.
next month. Like I'm leaving about a solid 2 weeks. We're leaving to the World Games in China, and we're bringing her. So she's about just over 2 months, and we're just gonna bring her halfway across the country, the world. So
I love it. Well, I mean,
mhm,
Braden and Tanya Gellantine are doing the same thing, and
mhm,
I love to see them bringing their kid to events, and I think it's going to be great for you guys as well. I mean,
mhm.
we always sit here and we say archery is such a family sport, and so
It's true.
to see Braden and to see you and your wife to start bringing your child there, that's really going to reaffirm to a lot of folks that it's not just about going to local events with your family. Like literally the best people in the world are bringing their kids to world events. So I
Mhm.
think it's going to be a great message. And I think that's going to be awesome for you guys.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a challenge for the first time, but I think we're both ready for it, and I think it's going to be a unique experience. So be like when she's going to be a little bit older, or like maybe even like past her 20s, you can say like, "Look, you're 2 months old, and we already flew you to China to be with us in a competition." So I think it's going to make awesome stories for later on.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. Let's get into this. So you have obviously, like I said in the intro, you've won pretty much everything. You have established yourself as probably the scariest feeder shooter
Mm.
the game has seen. And so in looking at your run at Spain this last week, uh, you have historically thrown down some absolutely incredible scores. This in the bracket, you went 147, 146, 149 with a shoot off.
Yeah.
Then you went and then you dropped to 47, came up against Nico Girard, tough. You drop a buck 50 on him,
Mm.
and then come into the gold medal match and shoot a 146. So when I spoke with Ella, she said that the wind was a little tricky because you guys were in kind of a not an arena but a stadium.
Like a stadium. Yep. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So the tricky conditions in a stadium is it's always like a swirly wind. So you never know kind of where it's coming from or how hard it's pushing your arrow. So that always makes it challenging. And it was windy that day, like especially the elimination day match bracket. That was like when I was shooting there, it was super gusty and super windy. And I think like everybody was just missing left, missing right. There were not a lot of high score shots for like our normal standard,
Right.
but everybody was just dropping them left and right. And I think that just like accepting it was important and just go for it.
Sure. So let's jump back in time a little bit to Turkey. What are your personal thoughts on the 11, the X counting as an 11?
So, in my opinion, the current state of compound is there's got to be some change that's needing to happen. I don't think the X's 11 is, in my opinion, the right way. I think I would like to see maybe like a smaller target face in general. So I was thinking about like a 60 centimeter face instead of the 80.
Oh,
Then the 10 is going to be like exactly between the 10 and the X. So it's like somewhere between it. Because I feel like, especially like we had a kind of a windy day as well in Turkey. And I felt like sometimes hitting the X was more luck than wisdom, kind of. So it was like
okay.
it's like I think it like the for the current state of compound archery, I think the XS11 is we're a little bit too far out for that yet. I think we maybe in like 10 years, 15 years, that's definitely going to be the play maybe. But at this moment, I would see something between it.
Gotcha. I hadn't even really thought about that. What are your thoughts on the distance? Now I know once again I'm old, so
Mm-hmm.
I can remember way back in the day when the guys shot, and I wasn't really into FIDA too much then. I
Mm-hmm.
shot some of it, but I wasn't good at it. Shooting the full 90, 70, 50, 30. Shooting the old 1440 rounds back in
Yes.
the day separated the men from the boys, let me tell you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
And
know. I know.
so,
I've shot it myself. Like in the beginning of my career, I was I'm actually holding a world record on the full FIDA. So no, I like to me like the only only thing I didn't like about it was like if you had a shitty 90 meters, like your whole day was ruined. So
really,
that was how it is, and I think that's what I didn't enjoy of it. But I think I wouldn't mind seeing some sort of it back.
right.
I'm not sure like how to implement it now, but I don't think we will ever go back though.
Yeah, I don't think we will either. I thought that round was super cool. You're not wrong. If you stunk it up at 90, yeah, I
Your
mean,
day was ruined.
yeah, I mean, you could make some up at 70, but the guys that are shooting that you're competing against, they're not going to really miss much at 50 and 30. So
Hmm.
not a lot room to make up. What would you think? And I don't know the folks, I don't know the world archery rules. I don't know how this all works. I don't know if changing the target size is easier or changing the distance. So don't ask me. I have
Hmm.
no idea. Maybe Mike can shed some light. What would you think about maybe shooting the same target at 70?
I think you have the same thing as well. Like maybe if you go to 70, it's gonna be too difficult as well. I think that there's gonna be also some luck involved again. So I think I would like to see that maybe 60 meters or
Okay.
but then you like what's the reason to move it from 50, you know? For example, like at the 60 centimeter phase is also an official world archery target phase. So it wouldn't change anything, just like that you go to a smaller target phase. So
Okay. Yeah. Well, and that's why Mike's the PETA guy and I'm not. So are you familiar enough with the World Archery rules to know if it would be easier to change that target over or if it would be easier to change the distance?
It's going to be difficult. Like in the World Cup stages, it will be pretty easy because they have a different set of rules. There's a lot of testing involved in it and a lot of like change possible. But going to like World Championships and stuff like that, it will be very difficult because the Congress needs to vote on it, and they only happen every 2 years. So it needs to like get passed in in a couple months at the World Championships or in 2 years again. So it will be very difficult to pass that the first time, and then you're like probably the earliest change you're thinking about after 28 probably. So I think it's gonna no matter what, it's gonna be a difficult change.
So, so there's so what's the difference between the world championships you were talking about on the World Cups? Isn't it all world archery?
Yes, it is, but it has different rule sets. So at World Cup stages, they have their own rules compared to World Championships.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So the World Archery can change the rules for the World Cups without any voting, while for World Championships and official competitions anywhere else, they need to do like a voting in the Congress.
Oh, that sounds like what we have over here with the NFAA, where uh, Bruce and the NFAA have to deal with 50 directors, but
Hmm.
Vegas, Dakota Classic, and those are foundation events, so they can basically do what they want. Okay,
Yeah,
so
similar.
yeah. So for those of you listening, basically it sounds like the systems in place for World Archery and the World Championships are similar to what we have here in America with Bruce Cole and the NFAA. Bruce and them can basically do whatever they want with Vegas, Dakota Classic, Target Nationals, etc., because those are foundation events. But indoor nationals, outdoor nationals, etc., those require approval of all state directors. So that totally makes sense.
Hmm.
Thank you for clarifying that. So let's talk about your win in Spain out here, and I do want to get your opinion because you're the man. I mean, you've been number one for like literally like over 7 years, right?
Everything combined, yes, but I'm and like one in a row. I'm like just over 4 years.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
That's
I'm pretty. It's pretty. I'm really. I think that's my biggest achievement so far. I think in archery.
yeah, that's 4 years straight. That's some Tiger Woods stuff right there. And so let's talk about this event in Spain. So I kind of read off your scores, and for a lot of folks that don't follow FIDA, like when I see your scores and I see you, shoot what is, by your units of measure, like Mike Schloesser shooting a 145, a 145, 146, just wind.
Hmm.
That you know,
Yeah.
when Mike gets calm conditions, you see him shooting 149s, 150s regularly. Like
Hmm.
it's not luck. So kind of talk us through the brackets and into the gold medal match. And let's talk about kind of the competitive nature of some of those. For instance, um, I mentioned Nico Girard.
Hmm.
He's tough. He's hot right now. So as because look, let's be honest, Mike, when most people look at the bracket, they hope to not be in your side of the bracket. I mean,
Hmm.
not to be the bearer of bad news, bro, but you are the harbinger of death when it comes to shooting against you in the bracket. And so when you see, like, you had a really tough match against Martin Damsbo. So when Mike looks at a bracket, do you even pay attention whatsoever to whoever else is in your side of the bracket?
Not really. Like it doesn't matter anyways. It's just 15 arrows, and it's the only thing you can control is yourself. So like, it's the only thing you can control is your own emotions and your own way of shooting. So to me, it's like the only thing I pay attention to is just making sure that I'm gonna be on top level at that moment. Um, and everybody that like to be fair, like if you make the cut in a World Cup event, you know how to shoot. So yeah, there of course are gonna be tougher opponents or opponents that you don't like to shoot against too, but it doesn't matter that much because everybody can throw down.
That's a good answer. And he's not wrong, folks. I mean, him and Martin Damsbo both shot 149s. So
Hmm.
so yeah, I mean, basically, and look, we've all been there where you shoot against some guy that you don't necessarily know all that well, and he drops like a 149, 150 on you and then drops a 142. So that was his shining moment, and it is what it is. So let's talk about not necessarily the depth of field, but
Hmm.
I spoke with Ella about this as well. And it was actually came before the announcement of the mixed teams in the Olympics. We started seeing other countries, like obviously with you in the Netherlands, you had Peter Elzinga previous.
Hmm.
So FIDA has been important. Compound has been important in the Netherlands for a long time.
Hmm.
A lot of these other countries, Korea, India, a lot of these other countries have really started to pick it up over the last several years, bringing in coaches from other countries and really starting to focus on the compound side. As you've seen this start to work itself in, you can look at the qualification scores from
Yeah, yeah.
from Spain and you're like, what?
Damn. Yes, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the thing is, like, of course, the rumors of Kampa becoming Olympic, it wasn't like overnight kind of. So we knew for a long time coming that they were working on it, and they were like they always um the sense that yeah, it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. And the Asian countries for like the Asian countries, the Asian Games is like the Asian Olympic Games kind of just but the Asian continent. It's really big for them. So with addition of compound in the Asian Games, that changed the game a lot. Because then the countries like you said, Korea, India, Chinese Taipei, for example, they put a lot of money in the compound scene just to get those like the medals at the Asian Games because that's really big for them.
Right.
I even know, for example, like Korea, if you win a medal at the Asian Games, you don't need to do the mandatory military duty. So it changes a lot of things for certain countries.
Say that again.
Like in Korea, there's a mandatory, like I think it's like 2 years that you need to go into the military. And if you win a medal at the Asian Games, they just scrap it and they're like, yeah, good luck with you. Like have fun with archery.
Well,
So that changes a lot for a lot of countries.
oh man. And for folks listening to this podcast, I hope you literally grasped the magnitude of what Mike just said. In some of these countries that have mandatory military service, if you win a medal in archery, they suspend your requirement for military service and basically tell you to keep shooting.
Hmm.
Yeah, folks, that's a whole nother level. That's a whole,
So
that's a whole nother.
yeah, that's put a lot of like influence in like funding and mental preparation to those events. And if you see, for example, like in Korea, the archery scene grew a lot, and in India is crazy. Like doesn't matter which one of the top 20 of India you take, they're all competitive and on the competitive scene and world scene. So I think they're like putting money in it and putting like local organizations like put like a lot of effort into competitions that changes the game. And I think that's why those countries are just firing up, and we haven't seen the top of them yet.
Right, absolutely. So, not to put you on the spot, but I'm gonna.
Hmm.
So Ella said that she went to a camp
Hmm.
in Korea and that they had invited all of the, not all, but that
Hmm.
they had invited the top archers in the FIDA game. Did you get that invitation?
Yes, I did. The only reason why I didn't go was because it was literally on the due date of my wife. So I was like, no, I did like to me like practicing at the time. I just want to be at home. Like I knew they invited me and they wanted some knowledge, but I've done that. That yeah, not like a training camp, but I did like a seminar there. I spent about 2 months in Korea just to help the compound team. I
Okay.
would say in 2022, and they I like teach them a lot of things about compound and mental part of archery, and then they pay me for it.
Oh, okay. Excellent. So you are more than familiar with kind of this newer dynamic that's taking place. Like I can remember way
Hmm.
back in the days, like Liam Grimwood did some, Dave Cousins did some, Whitey did a few, but what
Hmm.
we're seeing right now with folks like yourself and Korea inviting over the top archers and stuff, that is that is becoming more prevalent now. I mean, look what
Hmm.
Pani did for the compound team in Italy, not Italy. Well,
India,
I guess
both,
Italy,
both, yeah.
India. And so, that stuff is definitely getting more prevalent. So my question for you is, and look, we all understand you can tell someone anything and everything you want. Mike could help me as much as Mike is capable of helping me. I'm not beating him. He's a better shot. And so, you know, I guess secrets isn't necessarily the right word. I mean, like I said to Ella,
Mhm.
Koreans have Google. They
Oh yeah.
they could Google any of this information they want, but
Hmm.
um has there ever been any reservation for you in helping what will ultimately be competitors, not just
Yeah.
anybody?
Oh, of course. Like I got a lot of like questions about it, about like me helping people. Like for example, in October, I'm going to Spain to help the compound team there, and I went to Korea, of course, and I've got a lot of questions on Instagram and stuff like that as well. So, um, I like to me, it's like you said, there are no secrets in archery. So like, why would you even keep it secret? They're literally like everybody knows everything, and I like if you ask me, I will tell you everything as well. Because I think like if I make you better, that's eventually is going to make me better as well. So it's like, why would I keep a secret then?
This That's a good point. That is
Mm.
that is a very, very good point. And so is how old are you right now, by the way?
31.
Oh, damn. You're 31?
Hmm.
Oh, you're going to be around for a hot minute. I was going to ask you about coaching and what your future plans might be, but bro, you got another 20 years of shooting at a high level.
I
So
like I think I can see myself at the level I am at now, like probably like another 5 6 years, and then I'm gonna slow down a bit because just the traveling is intense. Like I'm gone like about 250 days a year from my home, and especially now with my little daughter, of course, like it changes your mentality. And I see myself like it's too early to give up, but I can see myself like Dave Cousin did at the end of his, or yeah, maybe still does. It's just pick the events that you're gonna go to. Just pick the events, pick the important ones, and then just focus on those instead of going to all of them.
yeah, absolutely. So what could you see yourself maybe, he's from the Netherlands. I'm not saying he has to do it in the Netherlands, folks, so calm down. But could you see yourself maybe working into some sort of a coaching or an executive position within your Netherlands federation?
I eventually, yes, for sure. Like I maybe don't see myself like, because I think the reason why I would slow down or quit would be the traveling. So maybe not like a traveling coach, but maybe like put a facility to yeah, like make talents or like help talents develop, kind of stuff like that. I'm also looking into like kind of like building like kind of like an Airbnb for archers, so I can help them out in the future. Like just people fly into the Netherlands, I like get a regimen, and then they come just shoot at my place, and I can help them with a couple hours a day, and just they stay at my like in the Airbnb ish.
Nice. So,
But in the future, there's
yeah,
nothing anytime soon. But like I definitely like I see myself never leaving the sport, so I
yeah.
definitely see myself doing something like that.
So since you brought up your house,
Mhm.
let's talk about kind of what, not the actual house part. I need to know how many
Mhm.
bedrooms and bathrooms your house has, but let's talk archery setup.
Mhm.
Do you train at a Netherlands facility, or do you have property and do you have something set up in your at your house?
So when we were looking at houses, it was very important that we were able to shoot outside in our property. So we bought a piece of land, and luckily there was a house standing on it, kinda, that we liked. So for us, the place that we like, the number one criteria was we need to be able to shoot 70 meters for my wife, of course, but I needed to shoot 50
Right.
meters as well. So so that was the number one criteria, just like have a house that where safely can shoot our distances. And so we have our own property where we can shoot 70 meters, even 100 meters if I want, so like 100 yards.
Nice.
Um, and I have luckily that I have a club that I have access to 24/7 across the street almost. So it's like less than a mile. I have the club that I have access to when it's winter season or like indoor season.
Sure. Wow. All right. Well, that's so how much, I'm assuming, how many acres or how much property do you have there?
I think let me Google this because I don't know the US conversions to it. I think it's just over an acre. So
Okay. So if it's just over an acre, then you would have room to put up another building to have archers come stay there and train with you.
yes, but I am looking more into like, because I want to have like, or maybe even like teams come in. So I definitely looking into like having like 4 or 5 rooms, like find a place where we can like have like a house and like a separate part with like a couple apartments in there that we can have like full teams come in and stuff like that.
Nice. Now, is that something that you think the Netherlands Federation per se would want to, you know, be involved with, or would this only be a Mike thing?
This would be only a mic thing because I don't want to be involved in politics or anything. I just want to do my own thing, and it's kind of like take it or leave it. If you're not happy with it, like it's not my problem, you know. Like I'm gonna do it my way, and I think that's how I do my archery career as well. Like I don't have any interest in politics or anything. I'm just doing my thing, enjoying archery, and that's important part for me. And I'm like I don't want to be involved in the politics. So
Yeah,
that's how I am.
smart move. And so some of you folks may have heard him reference his wife and 70 meters. Explain to the folks who your wife is and why she would need to shoot 70 meters.
So my wife is an Olympic archer. She shoots a recurve, and their distance is 70 meters. So it's about 77 yards, and it's the Olympic discipline. And she is even like a silver medalist in the Tokyo Games.
Yeah. So uh Luna, Mike's
Mhm.
daughter's probably going to have a bow in her hand by the time she's one, and she's going to have the pedigree to be a champion for sure.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
the Schloesser shoot archery at the highest level, and so that was the reference to his wife.
Mhm.
She's an Olympian, so that was that reference. She's just not
Mhm.
flinging arrows for fun,
No.
but she's actually doing the thing. And so does she do anything else other, or does she shoot full time for a living?
We both are shooting full time for a living. She's part of the Olympic committee, so because that's what I'm gonna be part about as well in the future, hopefully. But like she's kind of like funded by our Olympic committee, and I'm like more from personal sponsors and stuff like that.
Nice, nice. So let's talk about kind of your schedule. You have mentioned cutting back. Historically, folks, there has been certain archers. Paul Tedford was one, Stefan Hansen was one,
Mhm.
Paige is one, Mike is one. There are certain archers that go everywhere. And
Mhm.
like you said, he's gone 250 days a year. So how many actual events are you participating in a year right now?
I think this year I'm gonna like take it easy a bit more because of course with the bird, like I miss some and stuff like that. But I think last year I checked just before we did this podcast. I think I checked and it was like 32 or 33 competitions that I did
Oh,
internationally. Uh-huh.
holy crap. How many sky miles do you got with Delta, bro?
I'm flying United, so
Oh, how many?
I'm no, I have like I think the 1K status was the highest with United, so I
Yeah,
have enough.
yeah. You walk in that joint and they're like, "Welcome back, Mike."
Yes, yeah, I'm definitely a million-mile flyer at the moment. So
Yeah, that is wild. So, all right. So let's start getting into one of the things I want to talk about before we start talking about some equipment stuff, because
mm,
obviously, not only are you known for shooting six scores, but you're also known for how much weight you run in your stabilizers. We will get to all that.
yeah,
But
yeah.
before we get to that, let's talk mental management. So we've seen people that have taken courses. We've seen other people, Jesse Broadwater, who were just naturally cold as ice. What is it you think that contributes to your, ability to maintain yourself under pressure? Does that come from, like your daughter's probably going to have it because you and
Mhm.
your wife are both high level, but do you think that comes from your parents? Do you think that comes, I mean, did you take any courses? Like, what is it you think that has allowed you to be as mentally stable under pressure as you are?
I think it's like a lot of repetition as well. Like I shoot my bow quite a lot, so it's just like going back to the basics when you're on the shooting line. It's at high like stakes, but also like you said, I've done the courses, I've done the mental management, the mental awareness, the mental like everything. Like I think everything that has maybe something mental management in it, I've studied it and I've taken my parts of it because I think archery is very specific. So you cannot just take one course and be like, oh, that's amazing. But like you need to like from to go like read a couple books, different approaches, and just take things that work for you and that works for archery.
Folks, back up this podcast about 15 seconds and listen to what he just said again. There is no one magic pill. There is no, literally, archery is so individual. It's not even funny. So basically,
Mhm.
what he just said is a giant nugget of wisdom, folks. T- Take in all the information and then you have to apply it to yourself. Period.
Yeah.
Story. And so that's absolutely it. So from a young, like I just saw something on the interwebs, and you were like shooting at a championship level in like 2013.
I
So
think I my first international competition was 2008. So
yeah. And so did you, when you first started like in shooting the international stuff in
Mhm.
2008, did you exhibit some of the characteristics that are normal for you now? Or, because some of that's natural, using
Mhm.
Broadwater as an example, and you have a very calm demeanor there as well. So was that something that you had a lot of to begin with and you just built upon it? Or were you a hot mess to start and you built yourself into what you are now? Or is it a combination of both?
I think some parts were a hot mess and some parts are natural. Like I think like the calmness are like definitely something that I had from a young age, and I built on that. But also like I was a mess with like managing my equipment. I just the only thing I cared about was shooting my bow and stuff like that. So like that part of my equipment management, that's something definitely was a hot mess, and that is something that I really improved on.
Nice, nice. And so when it comes, and obviously you probably work on your own equipment, but
Hmm.
at what point did you become, as I don't want to say competent, but as advanced with your tuning as you have now? Is that something that you had a mentor over there? Did you get together with someone and they helped teach you, or just have you kind of learned on the move?
I think it definitely like me and my dad, we both helped each other a lot, and he helped me a lot finding my groove and my tuning as well. Like he was just like, here you have a bow, you have a set of strings, just do it. And he was keeping an eye on me and just seeing how I did it. And I think that was definitely from the beginning on, just not being afraid of moving things. I think that's something, and then just building up on that. And so I think I'm still learning at this day like some new tricks sometimes, but it's just like I think the majority is just being not afraid and just do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you can always move it back.
Yeah, that's my vision as well. Like, just keep a record of what you did and just do it. And then if it doesn't work, then you know where to put it back, right?
Exactly. I mean, I tell people that all the time when they're like either doing some tuning and I'm like, well, I don't know, move your rest up or down. And they're like, well, which direction? I don't know. Pick one.
Yeah,
If,
exactly. If it
if it,
doesn't work, you know you're gonna go the other way.
yeah, if it gets worse, go the other way.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's talk about tuning real quick. And
Mhm.
obviously, we don't need to talk about installing sights and
Mhm.
rests and that kind of stuff. But okay, Mike Schloesser takes a bow out of the box, puts his strings on, puts on all of his accessories. What is your, you know, basic tuning method from when you start shooting an arrow to when you're like, okay, we're dialed?
Okay, so I start off with just a bare bow, putting strings on, like you said, put in my draw length, and I just do like kind of like a string walking with my D loop to see which one where it just naturally aims well on that bow. Because I feel like every bow, like even if you have two concept X's besides each other, like one bow likes it at a certain spot, the other bow likes it in another spot, so it's a little bit of difference.
Right.
So that's the first step. I just string walk my D loop up and down and see where I like it. And then the next step is just like kind of start with a paper test. I don't want to get it like bullet hole. I just want to get it close, and then from there on, I just go shoot at my bow and just move my rest till the group's good. And I have now like over the years I've learned enough to know what groups like, what I need to do with them. So if I have like a group like left right, I need to like move my rest. If I have it really big, I maybe need a stiffer arrow or stuff like that. So I've learned that a lot just by like I said, like just doing it. But like to be honest, like the majority of tuning is just done by shooting my bow and just seeing the groups.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and look, folks, this doesn't work for everybody because not everybody is Mike Schloesser's level or Bowden Turner's level. But when you're able to shoot as good as Mike can, you see things that some other folks don't see. You know, Mike knows what he needs to see at 50 meters, and if he doesn't
Hmm.
see it, he's going to make some changes to accommodate that. So let's talk about your kind of your draw length and form. Obviously, you what is your measured draw length right now?
I'm about 28 and three quarters. I'm just sometimes a bit longer, sometimes a bit shorter, but it's around that the
Okay.
28 and three quarters.
And how much weight are you running out? And these two are kind of connected. You already know that, but how much weight are you running out front right now on your stabilizers?
34 ounces.
That's a lot. And
Yeah.
so you kind of have what I call the Olympic rifle shooting form. Chris
Mhm.
Perkins has it. It's super common, folks. But you lean back a little bit. And so, was that something that you started doing originally, or is that kind of something that you have progressed into?
I definitely think that I progressed into it. The magic YouTube arrived one day, and I was just looking at it, and I was looking at some other sports, and then indeed like the rifle shooting I saw, and it's like they lean back. I'm like started googling a little bit, and I saw like that they did it for stability. I'm like rifle shooting and compound archery they look pretty similar, like their static movement, like minuscule movements. So I was like, why shouldn't I do that? You know, like I didn't see a reason why progress sport like that had that stance, and I saw a lot of similarities with combat archery. So I was like, just gonna try it one day, and it took me a while to get used to, but once I got used to it, I never want to go back again because I feel like just my aiming patterns like smoothens out so much. And with that stance, you definitely have the ability to put some more weight on your bow.
Oh, for sure. So like when you first started shooting international competitions in 2018, what was your draw length and what was your how much weight were you running out front then?
So in 2008, I was probably shooting like 4 or 5 ounces up front and maybe 2 or 3 on the side. Like that's it.
Okay.
And yeah, like I was also like at the time I was like 13 or 14, so still in the growth as well. So I wanted to like everybody told me to be careful with it. So especially my dad and my mom. So I just backed up like that, and I started evolving it a little bit in around 2011, 12, I think. And then I just to be honest, like the weight I had started as a joke. I was living at a training center at the time. Yes. And Rio Wild was on a hot streak at the moment, and of course Rio Wild was notoriously known as well for like having a lot of weight.
Right.
And my teammates at the training center were like, "You cannot shoot that bow like with that much weight." So I decided, told them like, "Of course I can." So I found like literally every single ounce of weight I had in my bow case. I took my backup bow apart. I could put literally every ounce I had in my bow case. I put on my bow and I started shooting it like he did. And I just like instantly fell in love with it. But in the beginning, I could shoot probably 10 good arrows and then I needed to take a break. And then the next day I shot 15 arrows and the day after that was 20, you know, like, and then I progressed slowly through that. And eventually I was shooting a lot of weight and never went back.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, and this is the part that I really think people need to hear from you in particular.
Mhm.
Shooting the amount of weight that Mike shoots, it's not a strength issue. It's not it's not like Mike is benching 500 pounds at the gym and he can just lift small buildings and lift buses off of. No, it's not a strength issue. It's an acclimation and a form issue. And
Mhm.
so I guess the question is, how do you explain to folks the relationship between how much weight you shoot on your bow and strength per se? Because trust me, if strength was all it took, folks, I'd have been way better than I was. I'm pretty strong, but it's not a strength issue. So how do you explain kind of the relationship between what people perceive as the
Mhm.
strength of holding up that much weight versus what you do to actually hold up that much weight?
I think it's like more of like like indeed like you said, I don't think strength has anything to do with like how heavy you can pull a bow or how heavy you can hold up a bow. It has a lot to do with just like your smoothness as well. Like you're like instead of like muscles, you do it on your bone structure more like then. And I think that's the biggest difference. Like if you know the movement and if you know the draw cycle kind of like you can draw a bow back that's 80, 90 pounds without any issues. But you can see like somebody, a crazy muscle guy that indeed, like you said, benches like a crazy amount, and he cannot even pull back a 45-pound bow, you know, because he doesn't know how to draw it back,
Yeah.
how to use those bones and muscles combined.
Yeah. So as you've grown into the what we'll just consider the Mike build with a little
Hmm.
bit of the lean and the weight up front, how have you had to lengthen your draw length slowly over the years, or did you lengthen your draw length at one time and you're like, yep, that's it, and it's still there?
No, I definitely like kind of like I build up my weight. I also build up my draw length indeed. I think it's over a period of time of almost 3 years, I would say, that
Okay.
I went from like 27 and a half to almost like about 29 now. So I went like an inch and a half longer just because of just the lean back and like the way of my like shooting kind of.
Yeah, well, it's definitely worked. So I'm
Mhm.
not suggesting you change anything. That's for sure. And so while you were going through that process, what, if anything, were coaches or people in the Netherlands that you might have been interacting with in the federation? What was their thought process on what you were doing?
So they didn't like it at all because yeah, of course, like they see like me changing things, and like it's a drastic change. I went from like one way of shooting my bow to another way, but I just felt it. Like like sometimes you shoot your bow and you just feel something that, yeah, like, yeah, this is it. Like, and at that time I felt like this is something that fits me and fits my shooting. So I just told him as well, like, just trust me, give me 2 months. Like, just give me 2 months. If my points are not the same or higher, I'll go back, but give me those 2 months. And within like 2 or 3 weeks, I was shooting the same points, and like a couple of weeks later, I was shooting more. So I was just like kind of proved them wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I mean, and that's just that speaks to work ethic right there. Like you had a plan, you
Mm.
knew what you wanted to try, and you were willing to put in the work to do it. So, speaking of putting in the work, generally speaking, I don't mean like off season per se,
Mhm.
but for since you still got some outdoor stuff to do, how many hours or how many arrows a day do you train currently in the middle of outdoor season?
So I would say I spend about 4 to 5 hours a day shooting my bow, and that's about averaging about 300 hours a day, I would say.
Damn, that's pretty good. And then once uh, outdoor season's over and you transition to indoors, what's that practice schedule look like at that point?
I would say my practice schedule goes to about 150 hours, and probably like 2 hours, 3 hours. It's a bit shorter because it's less walking.
It's a good point. I hadn't even really thought about that part.
Uh-huh.
He's right. Walking 18 meters at a time is takes less time than 50. That's a
Yes.
great point. I hadn't even really thought
Uh,
about that. And so the lower arrow count is that specific to numbers of ends or numbers of rounds compared to outdoor, or is it just simply a matter of, that's just how much it takes for you to stay in peak form?
I think that's how much it takes for me to be in peak form. And instead of like, I noticed like when I would put up the big numbers indoors, I would lose accuracy. And I just, instead of just really making good shots, I would just make okay shots and they would miss sometimes. So at the moment that I kind of figured out that I was shooting too much, I went down in my numbers, and I think like I found like my sweet spot about 150 arrows. So I would shoot normally like a couple practice ends and then score 4 games of 30 arrows, and that's it. That's kind of my regular day for indoors.
Yeah. And then yeah, that seems like you could probably bust those out relatively easy, but
Yeah.
how does the volume of your practice regimen indoors or outdoors vary leading up to an event? Like you're probably not shooting 300 arrows a day the day before you shoot an outdoor event. Um, but
Sometimes it has a lot to do with how I feel and how my form is. Am I shooting good? I will take down my arrow count. If I'm shooting like shit, like I will definitely shoot those 300 arrows before my game day.
that's fair. He's like, I'm fitting to find this.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. So let's talk a little bit about kind of the level, not necessarily the level of competition, but the depth of it. So like when you first started in 2008, you had all the usual suspects, the Daves, the Jessies, the Rios, the like you had the usual suspects on the world stage, over there. I think Whitey was still doing, a lot of it.
Hmm.
You had Peter Elzinga and
Peter and yeah.
so so talk a little bit about kind of the your experience coming up through I mean, let's just be honest. Even though you're only 31, you are literally in the midst of the transition to another era. And
I think I've met like 3 or 4 arrows already. So indeed, like you said, I the Whitey, the who else was in there, like Real Wild and stuff like that. And then you run later, you have like the years of Stefan Hansen
yes,
and Perkins. They were like winning everything, and now you have the era of Bodie and Matthias, of course.
right. And so where do you this is going to be kind of a weird question for you because I know that you're not a self-aggrandizing type person. Where do you place Mike in that lineage of eras? Because you have been incredibly dominant, and you've been dominant in a time where there was a lot of other dominant people. They just weren't dominant necessarily over you. I can remember earlier in your career when you first started coming up, the matchups that I looked forward to indoors more than anything was you versus Jesse.
Yeah, that was always hard matches. I think at the time shooting a 150 was definitely wow. And I think me and Jesse have shot like 5 or 6 competitions that we both shot 150s against each other and needed multiple shoot-offs
Right.
sometimes. And I think that was definitely a matchup that was very high contended. Like it was always like we knew when we were shooting against each other, that was like, yep, it's gonna be a good match. And it's either gonna be like a 150 shoot off or 150 149. And it was, I think it would definitely be like one that's 50-50. I think we have won about equal parts. So it's always like a cool matchup as well.
Oh yeah, dude. I used to literally sit back and be like, I would look at the bracket and be like, oh,
Oh.
Mike and Jesse could meet in 3 matches, and it would usually end up happening because you guys were both just railing back then. But when you think about this, in generations or eras,
Mhm.
and like you said, you have the Whitey and the Liams and the Peter Elzinga, and then it transitioned, and you had the Rio and the Jessies and the Daves and and Dave had a little bit of crossover there, of course.
Mhm.
And then now, like you said, you went through the Steffens and the Perkins. Now we have the Bodies and the Matthiases and
Mhm.
whatnot. Where do you position yourself, kind of in that transition? Would you consider, you're only 31, bro. I got jackets that old. And so like you're young enough to where you could say, yeah, I'm in the Matthias and Bodie generation. I'm right there. But you've also been doing it long enough that you did bang against Jesse Broadwater and
Mhm.
Dave and them. So when you think about yourself, you've already had the longevity to go through a couple of these eras. So when you think about yourself in that context, where do you generally place yourself?
I think I'm definitely like this year that my indoor and outer season were amazing. Like I think I won 4 indoor World Cups and I've won 2 outer World Cups so far. So definitely like it's been an amazing year and out of consistency as well. Um, but I think like maybe like one of my highlights is gonna be probably 2014 where when I Castor Vegas back to back. I think that's um my era that I'm looking back to that I'm like, yeah, that's what made Mike.
Yeah. Wow, you're not wrong. I mean,
Mm.
you were, yeah, that's absolutely it. And so to still be doing it at this level, talking like you're old or something is pretty awesome. So if you had to pick now, like I said in the intro, when it comes to indoors and outdoor FIDA, you're the man. What's your favorite venue to shoot?
Ooh, it used to be Vegas, but the last couple of years it's been like such hectic because of course I have a lot of duties to do for my sponsors. Like I need to go do this, do that. So for me, like the enjoyment of Vegas is kind of gone a little bit because it's just so hectic. Like you land in Vegas and just from moment one you just busy, busy, busy until you go back home. So it's kind of like it the fun kind of disappeared at that event. So it used to be Vegas definitely, but it isn't that anymore. So I like, let me think. I like Reading a lot just because of the of walking, and I think the last couple of years have been nice because um the competition flows a bit better than it used to do. So I think that changes the fun of the competition as well. I like field, like World Archery field. I like that as well. Like it's a lot of fun because like the changing targets is very cool, and I like the indoor scene a lot. I think that's definitely my favorite game to do, and it doesn't matter exactly where it is.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, hearing you throw Reading in there warms my heart.
Mhm.
I'll just put because yeah, I mean, look, man, you've been there, and
Mhm.
folks like you and me tell people once you come to Reading, you'll
You will
never,
never leave. Yes.
I mean, unless there's like a World Cup on top of it or
Mhm.
something, but schedule, schedule conflicts notwithstanding, folks like you and me tell people the same thing. Once you come
Mhm.
to Reading, you'll never miss it again. So
Yeah, it's awesome.
yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned consistency and whatnot. So let's talk about the new Hoyt Concept X. I have a couple. I have
Mhm.
enjoyed them. I think for Hoyt's, this is my personal opinion, folks. I'm going to ask Mike his as well. But in my opinion, this was a huge paradigm shift for Hoyt. The new cam system, another new limb. Like for Hoyt's first go at this style of bow, I think they crushed it. I think they did extremely well. I've been around since, dude. I have old brown spiral cams from way back.
I think I
So
have them laying somewhere as well, so I
yeah,
can pick them up in a bit probably, but I do have them as well.
exactly. So we're old school spiral cam guys. And if you know, you know. But
Mm.
if you were a spiral cam guy, you had a little bit of a chip on your shoulder and some aggressiveness in you because those cams were not for the timid. And so, and Hoyt's tried to make other cams and transition away, but up until this point, my opinion, they had not really made a new cam system that replicated what I liked in the spiral cam system.
Mm.
And so with this Concept X, the way I describe it to people is with the spec cam, of course. So they have spec mod, and Mike can get into that. What I like about it is, and this is the way I describe it, is it doesn't necessarily draw like the old spiral cams did,
Mhm.
but it feels like the old spiral cams did on the shot. And so that's one of the things that I like about it. So let's talk Concept X. And you've shot them all. You've done good with them all. You've done great with them all. So it's really not a matter of that part. I mean, if you were to ask me my favorite, it's my green Vantage Elite Plus that's hanging out in the garage. But um, let's talk about your opinions of the Concept X. You probably had it super early on, but let's talk about what mods you have in it, what let off you're running, and all that kind of good stuff. And then I would like you to kind of talk about it from a technical aspect of how you got along with the bow early on and how your relationship with your bow has grown.
So for me, of course, it was hard to walk away from the spiral. Like you said, we I shot the spiral cam, and then we had the C2 cam, and then we went back to the spiral again. And yeah, it was very difficult to walk away from that. And I think that the binary cam system was definitely something new that I never played around with. Never really like for me. It was like I was a diehard spiral cam guy. They didn't even most of the time they didn't even try the other cams because I knew like I'm not gonna like it anyway. So why would I order it? So for me, as like it was definitely a change. But of course, like I said, I had it pretty early on. I even worked with the engineers for like probably a year before they came out with the bow. We started talking, we started discussing things, and I got the bow pretty early on as well, and like even some prototypes I shot, and we just talked about it, and I gave him my opinions and stuff like that, and he worked on it, and I think that's it's kind of why they came with the spec mod as well, just to because of the things that they've been hearing from us, because we wanted the spiral cam, like we didn't want anything else, and I know with some of the things that was um, yeah, were happening, kind of like they kind of needed to like walk away from the SPX cam because it's like everybody went to like a binary cam
Right.
because it's first of all it's easier to design, it's easier to do things, like you can customize it way quicker than yeah, an SPX style cam. So there was a lot of things that just the cam was 20 something years old, I would say 21.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for a cam system to survive that long, I think that's just bonkers. Like in a sport that evolves so quick, having a cam that survives 21 years is amazing. And it's still sometimes in my heart I miss it, just because like I've shot it so long and shot it so much. I knew I could blindly tune a spiral cam bow because I just knew what it needed. I've shot it for so long, started my career with it, and shot it for like 15 years plus. So
Yeah. So I'm obviously you're running the spec mods
Correct.
on your Concept X. What are you running for draw weight and holding weight on that rig?
So I'm shooting this back mod with the 70% let off. I like a bit of longer valley, so I lengthen my string a bit compared to the stock version. So it's just to get a bit of longer valley on it, and also that's also the reason why I shoot the 70% let off, because when you lengthen the string a bit, you get a bit heavier holding weight.
Yeah.
And also the 70 compared to 65, you keep a little bit of the valley. And the last generations of SVX cams, it was about 68, 69% let off anyway. So the 70 hits really close to what I was shooting before.
Yeah. How many pounds do you draw? Well, World Archery's,
Well, 60 limit. Uh-huh.
yeah, that was a stupid
So,
question.
so indeed, I'm about 60-ish. I think 59 and a half, just to be a bit on the safe side.
Right.
And I think my holding weight is about 18.8. So that's kind of like where I'm like to be with these concept X's.
Yeah. And so how are you? I have noticed, like with all the years of the spiral cam, like you said, lots of us could set them up on our sleep. And
Mm-hmm.
generally speaking, for most all of the time, especially when they were not modulated, I would always run the top cam a little bit ahead and just let her eat.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you seeing any differences in how you have set up your Concept X cam timing versus your history with the spiral?
So I used to my spiral axis. I used to have them open on the top. So I would have about I would say like 3 or 4 millimeters open on the top, just to that's the hardest value was there, because the pack would be harder than the top cam kind of. Um, and lately with the sector cam, of course, with the binary cam, I just hold it even. And if I want to change it a little bit, I do a bit of tiller instead of the cam timing.
Oh, okay. Okay. And then one of the things that Hoyt did on this cam system that I thought was super intuitive was the way that they have the let off feet, the draw stop
Mhm.
feet. If you put the top to the bottom or the bottom to the top, you basically control how hard of a wall you have.
Yep, correct.
Which what's your preferred style?
I have it on the harder setting. That's just because I've shoot a lot of archery stuff. They always kind of like windy conditions most of the time, so I like to have the firmer wall.
Oh, okay.
I even take out the gums that goes in the feet. I take them out just to get even harder feeling.
Oh, okay. And so when you hit the wall, and look, folks, there's lots of variables that come into play here. His style, the way he leans back, the amount of weight up front, that kind of stuff. But once you hit the wall, how hard are you generally pulling into the bow?
I don't think that hard. I think if I would assume, I would probably be pulling it a little bit just to keep it up. But for the rest, I try to just hold it even, because I feel like the less that you pull into your bow, the steadier your aiming pattern is.
Ah, okay. And so when you get into some of these wild, windy situations, do you find yourself kind of loading some more pressure into it, or do you just try to maintain the exact same?
I know. I think like definitely like if it's windier, I try to pull a bit harder, because then yeah, the impact of the wind is not that much. But I wouldn't say like, oh, extremely. No, just I pull in a bit harder, not nothing crazy.
Right, right. When we start, and I'm assuming you're shooting the 40?
And no, 37 actually.
Really?
Yep. I went from my 40 to a 37 with this new bow. I shot the 40 for years. So the Stratos 40, the what's it before that? The
Insignia,
Invicta,
Invicta.
uh, what is it? The Podium before that, the Prevail. I shot all 40s, and this is the first time I went back to a 37.
Okay, well, explain what precipitated that.
I think the string angle that was the biggest thing, because it came with the bigger cams and the longer riser. Just that the feeling of my 37 Concept X is the same as my 40 Stratus, so that was just like very easy to get used to, and I just that was the spot. I think I'm also a bit better on the rotation of the cam for my personal shooting, so I think that also helps me a little bit.
Well, that sounds familiar, folks. For those of
Mhm.
you that I wasn't doing a podcast back in them days, but if you remember when Jesse Broadwater was shooting that little FX and winning everything, he shot the FX because he could run a bigger spiral cam on it to accomplish the exact same thing that Mike was just talking about with the rotation of the cams and the feel and the valley and all that kind of stuff. So genius leaves clues, folks, and take yes for an answer. So when you hear folks like Jesse back in the day and Mike now, and when you hear people at their level shooting different bows and different this, that, and the other, but there's things in there that they are doing that are similar, there's a reason. And yes, Jesse would run 2, 3, 4 ounces out front and 18 off the back. So he was not shooting the same style of shot as Mike. But when you hear people like Jesse and Mike saying little things like that, that matters. So pay attention to those kinds of things, because there's a reason that they do it, and it's not just for shits and giggles. And so let's talk about speed. I mean, obviously you're not going to be a speed freak. You can only shoot 60 pounds, but you also don't want to shoot a turd out there.
No.
From what I saw, that Concept X was not a slow bow.
No, it's definitely not. I think I went up about 20 feet per second compared to my Stratus. And I think that's
Damn.
partly to do with the 37 as well compared to the 40. But I think this new just a new combination of everything. Like, this bow is completely redesigned from scratch. So the riser is designed from zero. The limbs are designed by zero, and then the cams are designed by zero just to match each other. So this bow is just redesigned from scratch, and I think they just hit it on the nail, like the head of the nail. Like, this bow is amazing. Like, I think I never had a season this consistent, this well, this high level ever. So I'm very happy with the bow, and I'm just really stoked with shooting it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, like I said, I think for Hoyt's first try, and literally, folks, that's what this is. And people are like, oh, Hoyt's been making, someone talking about this style of bow, this cam system. I think Hoyt crushed it their first try. And now that Hoyt has entered this style of bow, I think it's only going to get better. And so no question on that. 20 feet per second, that's huge. Did you have to change any arrow spine for that? Because that's a big jump.
Like, I did indeed. I went a weaker spine, so even I went up in speed. My bow liked a weaker arrow, and I think that has a lot to do with being a binary system, just like the binary cam, like putting the pressure on the arrow more equal compared to a big and a small cam. I think, like, at the time, like the Apex and the, what was it for matches as well, the Apex 7 and the Conquest 4, I think, the C4.
Yes.
They also had like the like just a single cam style. They also really liked heavy spine arrows, and I think that was also kind of with the spiral cam, like, because it was unequal cam. It just, you need to have a stiff arrow, and I think with this binary cam you can get away with a weaker arrow.
Well, that's certainly counterintuitive. So let's dig into that a little bit there. Since you're sporting the Easton shirt, what
I do.
well done. What spine arrow were you shooting previously with the spirals?
So I was shooting the X-10 325, and I cut about 4 inches off the back. That was an arrow that worked really well with the Stratus for me. And now currently I'm still testing a little bit, but I'm shooting a 380 X10 at the moment.
380?
Mm-hmm.
Regular X10 or Pro Tour?
Regular X10.
Okay. Welp, as you know, we got to dig into that a little bit. For those of you wondering, and it's funny, I don't know how funny it is, but Ella is shooting the. So I made a joke about, I saw those white labels in your quiver to Ella. And for those of you that don't know, the white labels are the regular X10 tapered on both ends, and the dark label is the Pro Tour. So clear it up for everybody. Explain to folks the difference between the regular Pro Tour, the regular X10 and the
X10
and then that you have.
So it's pretty funny because Ella switched to from Black Eagle to Easton and this year. So she asked me a lot of things about how I set up my arrows, and I told her, like, just get the regular X10. I think that's for us people is going to be the arrow to go for. But the difference between the regular X10 and the Pro Tour is one is tapered and other one is barreled. So the barreled means that the arrow goes from thin to thick to thin, while the regular Pro Tour is the regular extent is like that, and the Pro Tour is from thin to thick. That's the tapered version of it. So compound likes a heavy back end of the arrow, so that you get away with like some of the inconsistencies in your release hand.
Yeah,
And I think, and I like how I cut my arrows is I just see how much I want to cut of the arrows, and I just do divided by two, and then that's the amount of I cut off the front, and that's the amount of I cut from the back. So, for example, if I want to have an arrow that's 28 inches, while the arrow is 36, so that's I want to cut 8 inches off it. So I cut four of the front, four of the back, and that's how I keep my tune my shoot my regular extents.
Okay, so now obviously, folks, this is going to go down a little bit of rabbit hole here, so just bear with us. So as you cut off the skinnier part of an X10 off the back, you are incrementally stiffening up the arrow.
Correct. Yes.
As you know. So I have some 325 X10s out in the garage that I cut 4 inches off the back in the day. And so with you cutting the 4 inches off the back, is that something that you came up with after trial and error, or is this something that you know, because back in the day, like when Steve Anderson was running Easton, he would just be like, just get a 325 X10, cut 4 inches off the back, and then that starts you fresh without anything on the back. So are you intentionally cutting off that 4 inches to cut off all the taper on the back, or is that just where you ended up after testing?
I definitely did a lot of testing. I have a garage full of arrows as well, like just testing different spines, different way of cutting it. For me, the way I just one night I was laying in bed, probably jet lagged. I was just thinking about how to cut arrows, and I was like, "What? Like you have the thickest part of the X10, it's in the middle. Why don't I try to keep it in the middle?" So I was like, hey, I'm gonna cut, let's say like the 8 inches off the total of the arrow. I'll do four in the front, four of the back. Then have the middle of the middle of the arrow is still the middle of the arrow kind of then,
Right.
so that the stiffest part is still in the middle. And I did that, and it worked well, and I never turned back from that vision of how I cut my arrows. And it doesn't matter what spine I shoot, I just do the same thing, and how much I want to cut off it, I just divide it by two, and then doesn't matter what spine or how much you want to cut off it.
Okay. And so I will assume for the sake of argument that out there in your bucket of arrows in the garage that you also have Pro Tours that you've
Yes, I do.
And so what did you see downrange between the regular X10 with 4 inches cut off the back and the front versus whatever your Pro Tour build was? Because generally speaking, the accepted
Compound arrows, the Pro Tour indeed.
that basically the Pro Tour is an X10 with 4 inches cut off the back. So what did you see shooting the Pro Tours versus the regular X10s that made you choose the X10?
I think for me, like for the general public, I would just recommend the Pro Tours because it's just easy. Just cut off the front and that's it. The spine will always work kind of, you're close to where you want to be at, and I think for the general public, that's it. But if you're looking for every like percentage that you can find, I think the tunability of a regular X10 is a bit more than the Pro Tour, and I think that's the reason why us as the professional athletes are looking for the regular X10 so they get the ultimate advantage.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, this is not a paper tuning, and Bear Shaft is not chat. So, downrange, like when you walk down to the target, what did you see with point weight? What are you running?
120.
Did you try 140?
Of course, I tried 140, 130, 110, 100. Pretty sure I can find some all around.
Okay.
Just like I use this app, it's called Artemis. It's for Android, and I use that app to just collect a lot of data on it. So I just try my arrows, just plot it on this app, and then at the end it gives me a score. It's called an ISV score, and the higher the score is, the better you shoot. So I shoot about like hundreds of arrows, sometimes thousands of arrows, and then just see what this grouping does, what the score does, and like the higher the score, the better it is. So I have a lot of collecting data, and for that, I just just like that's how the way I kind of tune my bow and set up my arrows and stuff like that.
Okay, so a comparable, although the spines aren't the same. I wish they would make a 325 Pro Tour, to be honest, but
Hmm.
it is what it is. I actually just asked Cody that yesterday. But um, taking your exact same arrow length with the exact same point weight, same vanes, etc., from a Pro Tour to your X10 build, what do those arrows weigh?
My X10 is a bit lighter, so I would say I think my Pro Tour is about 405, 410 grains, while my X10 is about just under the 400. So it's not crazy amount of difference, but they're just a bit lighter.
Oh, okay, so it's not. I haven't.
It's not my.
Yeah, I haven't weighed my regular X10 325s for several years, but I probably will be now. Thanks for that. Well, I mean, look, man, I can't sit here and say genius leaves clues. Got that from Josh Bomar, by the way. I can't say genius leaves clues and talk to the number one male archer in the world, the GOAT, and Ella Gibson, who's been number one in the world for a while now, and they're both doing the same thing. So if I don't pay attention to that, that makes me not smart. And so when it comes to the spine side, um, did you, I'm going to assume you did, but did you play with less than 4 inches off the back of an X10 just to see if there was any magic there?
Yeah, I kind of did, but I did also like I have some of the earlier sets that I just did. Like I cut like 4 arrows with 3 inches of the back. I have 4 arrows with like 2.5 and 2 and 3.5, of course, as well. And but at the end, I just found out that the way I did it worked really well for me. And I don't want to say that everybody needs to do it, but I felt like that really worked well for me. And that's what I've been telling to people as well. Like when Anna asked me in the beginning of this outer season, like, what should I get? She was like, I got some 450s and 400s, I think she had 410s, I think. And I'm like, they're way too weak. You got to shoot at least 380s. You have about the same draw length as me. Draw weight is probably the same. So I was like, you need to like, and then she texted me, and I think we were in Chicago for the indoor nationals, and she was like, "Yep, you were right. I needed to order some 380s."
Yeah, she's a
So
savage. I mean, and she can shoot. There ain't no doubt about it.
no.
And so, um, I'm, I'm, yeah, I'll have to go back and revisit that. Is there a, so let's transition to your indoor build.
Hmm.
23s first. The thing that I've told people for the longest time, and correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you borrow like Steve Anderson's arrows one time at an event? And
No, he bought mine.
oh, okay. So Steve borrowed yours. For those of you that are wondering, Steve is like myself. We are not height challenged. Steve's draw length is way longer
Mhm.
than Mike's, and yet Steve could borrow Mike's indoor arrows. And I know a lot of people are like, well, that doesn't make sense. It's indoors. A lot of things don't
Mhm.
make sense. So let's talk about your 23 build. What is your preferred 23 build these days?
These days it's 2315 with 180 grains point, and it's about 28.5 inch with 4 inch veins.
Okay. And how much helical or offset are you putting on those veins?
About 3 degree.
Okay, so a lot.
A lot, yeah. I have some clearance issues most of the time, so I need to really put my knock on well. Otherwise, I hit my rest.
Okay. Well, we saw in Vegas this year with Bodie that three of his four veins were hitting stuff. So
Hmm.
as good as you guys shoot, you can tune to anything. And so when it comes to 27s, what's your build?
This year in Vegas, I shot at 23s because I couldn't get my 27s to shoot. So, I don't know. I normally shoot about 29 inch, 2712 with 250 grain point, and then feathers on it, 4 inch feathers.
Really?
And those always did very well for me. Both times I went Vegas, I shot it like that, and I feel like they're okay for me, but nothing special. Like I felt like this year's my 23s just were railing so good. I was like, I know I'm going to be better with these off than my 27s.
You were shooting really well in Vegas with those 23s. No
Yeah.
doubt about that. And so, obviously the 27s can be, and look, folks, this is what Mike just said I've heard from top archers for 20 years that I'm shooting 27s in Vegas, but my 23s virtually never miss. But
Hmm.
mentally, they
Yeah.
shoot the 27s because they feel it whatever. So I've heard this a bunch before. So, but what were the 27s not doing that you needed them to be doing? Was it a forgiveness thing, or what was the issue there?
I think just in general, I was not shooting the X's I did with my 23s. I don't want to say that I was missing like 900s or 300s or whatever, but I would just like consistently shoot higher X count with my 23s. So I was like, why not just stick with the 23s then?
Sure, absolutely. So, him, 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 him. Well, let's back up and talk about Vegas a little bit this year. Obviously, you made a great run. You got down to Final Four, right?
I think I ended up fifth at the end, but
Or five?
I
Yeah,
was,
five. So you were there till the very end. You
mhm.
were you experienced the implementation of inside outs on the spot,
Yeah,
or at
yes,
least the threat of it. And
yep.
so, first of all, give us your thoughts. Let Here's my thoughts, and I've
Mhm.
said this already to numerous people. I think the inside out is great. I just wish it would have maybe been implemented before the event so everybody, yes, it was in the rules, it wasn't
Mhm.
a violation of anything. I
Yeah.
just think that we needed a little bit more structure around it. That's my opinion. But
Hmm.
it did save this shoot off. Once Bruce implemented the inside out, it definitely revitalized everybody. That's my personal opinion. But I wasn't up on the stage, so my opinion doesn't. So
No.
let's get your opinion on that shoot off, on that process, and when the inside outs were announced that they were actually going to be happening. I think in two ends or whatever it was. Talk us through that. You already knew that it was a possibility.
Hmm.
When it actually happened, give us your perspective of that being on stage.
Of course, like we knew beforehand that there was the possibility of it. We talked in internationals, like he was like, if the same thing happened in Rushmore as is going to happen in Vegas, like it's going to kill the Vegas shoot. And I think I agree with that as well. I think that um, yeah, it's like too long. Like I think like the Rushmore Rumble took like 2.5 hours. I was standing there, and at the end, I was like, I like watching archery, but it was boring at the end. Just like seeing two people just killing it. Um, and I think like the Inside Out is maybe not like I personally would have preferred to see a smaller target face instead of the Inside Out because it's sometimes hard to judge if something is inside out. Like of course, like if you shoot inside out, it's easy. But if you're close to the line, like it's sometimes hard to judge if something is inside out compared to not. So I think there's gonna be some difference between the judges. Maybe like one sees it inside out, the other one doesn't. While if it touches the line, it's easier to see than being from the outside. But I think it's definitely a great way to go, like to reduce the length of the competition. And I think that I was kind of bummed out that I didn't make it to the inside out. I think I went one round short for it,
Yes.
so I was really bummed out for that. And I think I had a really big chance of maybe even winning it if I made it that far because I was shooting the 23s, of course, compared to the 27s of Bodie and Christopher Perkins.
Yes, absolutely. So, um, and for those of you that didn't watch well, we're not going to talk about watching the Vegas shoot off from this year because of that coverage, but basically, I think Bruce announced that they were going to inside outs in two ends, and yeah, I
Hmm.
think that Mike went out right before the inside outs started. So, with that being said, now that you know what's coming for 2026 Vegas,
Hmm.
we've not seen any rules announced or any structure. My personal opinion, once again, is I think you guys need to go one end of regular scoring, even though it doesn't really matter. It's just a formality there.
Yeah.
And then 10 ends of X and then after 10 ends, a full round, you go to inside outs. That's my personal opinion. So for you, how would you like to see that formal setup, that formal structure work for going to inside outs if that's what they're going to continue to do?
I think, like you said, they need to come with a structure for it because now it kind of felt like kind of random. Like Bruce is like, I'm getting hungry. Let's go for inside outs, you know? But I think indeed, like you said, there needs to be some sort of structure in it. And I think that's kind of what we missed this time. But I think like it was a nice experience, if you can call it like that. But I think it's something that for the future is definitely something that we need to look at too. And in my opinion, the inside out is maybe not to play, but maybe like a smaller target face and or maybe even say like at the end like the professionals need to shoot 23s only or maybe something like that, you know, like. And I know that's going to be hard because I talked with Bruce about it as well, because the arrow manufacturers maybe not going to like that. But I'm like, we're just talking about the professionals, like what is it, like 200 people on the whole 5,000 people Vegas.
Right. Well, and I just had that conversation with someone the other day, and I was explaining that there is no pro in Vegas. You just shoot championship, and most of the
Mm,
people that shoot championship aren't even pros to begin with. So
no.
so you have that. So that brings me to my next question. And I don't know whether they change the target or whether they keep inside outs, whatever. They're going to do what they're.
Hmm.
But I'm also curious if they implement any sort of arrow restriction whatsoever. I've heard, excuse me, I've heard from several people that they're going to pull a Mike Schloesser and they're going to have an extra bow. That obviously, folks, if you've ever watched World Cup stuff, is for medal matches, you
Uh-huh.
like walk out with two bows because there's no
Mm,
equipment failure.
yep.
So if you have an equipment failure, Michael just drop that bow and grab a new bow and try to get some arrows off.
Hmm.
So I've heard that's going to be a thing. So for you, like I said, I don't know if they're going to implement any arrow restrictions or any of that crap. I don't care. Matthias tried
Hmm.
to go to X10s and it didn't work out for him. He was walking down into the X, but didn't get there in time. What would be your arrow strategy if they continue the inside outs and there are no arrow restrictions? What would your strategy be?
I think I would go for the same as I did this year, just 23s all the way.
Okay.
Um, I think that changing to an X10, I do that for internationals, of course. I don't think it's like an X10 on that distance is too critical, I think. So I think I would not go to something that small.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, look, Mike's won Vegas plenty of times, so he's generally always going to be in the mix there. So, his strategy is probably going to be a common one. Uh, that was kind of where I was going with it, is probably um, if I was at Mike's level. I'm not, of course, never have been, but I would, Mike's confident enough with the 23s for the rest of the mere mortals. Maybe they shoot 27s for the 900 and then transition to either probably 23s for the inside out. What Mike said about the X10s, and I know people are like, but they are,
Hmm.
but at 20 yards, they can be a tiny bit finicky. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean you see Mike missing 20-yard dots in Reading, but at the same time, you see a guy with Mike's experience say, I might take a 23 over an X10 for Vegas inside out. So pay attention to that as well. Um, would there be a scenario? Because I don't think there's not equipment breakdowns in the shoot off in Vegas either, correct?
No, correct. Yep.
Yeah. Do you bring an extra bow for that too? Or if you have a problem
Uh,
with the bow, you're like, well, I'm done.
this year I brought my backup bow. I always bring my backup bow. I have it close somewhere. I think my coach slash friend had my backup bow, and if I was something off, I just yelled at him, and he would brought my bow, kind of. So,
Right.
um, I knew where he was. So for me, like it's like this is my profession, this is my life, this is my like my income, my bread and butter, like they say like that. And I think it's really important to be prepared. Like I'm being sponsored by Easton, Hoyt, Acceptable, and they expect a certain level of professionalism, I think. And I think that having two bows that can shoot good is a bare minimum I need to do for that.
Absolutely. And
Uh,
so you've shot on I don't think you shot at the Riv. Did you shoot Vegas in the Riv? I don't think you shot.
no,
Okay.
my first year in Vegas was in the South Point. In the
Okay.
first year in the South Point.
Okay. So you've shot on every world stage there is.
Hmm.
All the
Almost,
World
yeah.
Cups. Yeah, like literally you've shot on every world stage. talk about shooting at the theater there in Vegas this year up on the stage. And the reason I'm asking, not, and I talked to Paige
Mhm.
and Bodie about this is, down in the arena in the South Point or World Cup events or indoor nationals or Lancasters, those venues are not made for sound, meaning
Yeah, yeah.
the theater that Mike was shooting in for Vegas, that has real music concerts in it. And so the sound in that arena, in that uh, building is made for people in the crowd. It's not made for people up on stage. They have sound deadening stuff everywhere. Acoustically, it's made for everybody out in the crowd to consume. It's not made for people up on stage to be part of the same audio experience. So what was it like for you up on that stage compared to some of the other stages that you've shot on before?
I think it was a hot mess with like walking off the line and shooting two lines, stuff like that. I think as an archer, and I think as well as uh, people watching it, I think it was chaotic. It was a mess. It wasn't that cool. Like I think for an event with that much prize money and with that much experience and that much people watching it, it shouldn't be like that. I think they need to try to figure out have it on one line. And of course, this year we had like what is it, like 45 people cleaning it.
There was a
So
bunch.
it was way more than they maybe anticipated. But I think they should make it happen just with like a certain amount of people like all in one line.
Right. So I've brought this up before. I don't know how much I brought it up on the podcast before, but it's my opinion that with the number of people we're having make the shoot off now, that I suggested maybe setting like 16 900s automatically make the shoot off, and then the rest of the 900s by X count, the rest of the 900s shoot off for what would be considered the lucky dog. What sort of ideas would you come up with to prevent 27 people in the shoot off so you had to do the dance that you were talking about?
I didn't. I never really thought about it, but I would say like maybe even like a pre-finals that you go from like a X amount what we have now and then go back to 20, and then those 20 just go to the big dance.
That, yes, the I guess my only counterpoint to that would be, you remember the year that Sergio Pagni was the lucky dog in Vegas and he won in the first end.
That's not gonna happen with 45 people. At the time, it was like no, but like to be fair, like it not 45 people and 44 of them gonna miss an X. I would assume that like at the time that Sergio Pena won, it was like I think 4 or 5 people that I think 6 people cleaned it in the 900 and one was a lucky dog. I think there were 7 people total.
Yeah, it was under 10. It was under
Hmm
10. All I remember is he was riding out on the chariot as people were still walking in to watch.
Yeah,
They're like, it's over.
yeah. Good luck.
Like,
See you next year.
yeah, we were like, what do you mean it's over? Yeah, it's over.
Yeah.
And so that part, but yeah, I totally get it. And I think Bruce is aware that the whole double line and having to go on and off probably wasn't the best production value for that.
Hmm
So I don't know what they're going to do to limit that. Your idea is not terrible, is of basically having a pre shoot off to get it down to 10 or 12 or whatever the number would be.
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea. I think Bruce would probably be scared that some weird shit would happen and all of a sudden there's a winner in the pre thing because a whole bunch of people shit the bed. He would probably be super concerned about that. But I think that they need to do something from an audio, from a hearing and an lighting experience. What did you think of shooting up on that stage?
It was actually like the shooting condition was awesome. It was a stable ground. Lighting was amazing. Standing there, you didn't really hear the public, so that was also nice. You just be focusing on yourself. Like you said, it was the stage is made to be performing, so that was definitely something that you noticed. The biggest thing, there were a couple things that I didn't like about the venue, because you didn't have practice before. Like he literally, like, you got picked up from the practice range, and it took like an hour and a half to shoot your arrows, and it was just like a lot of things. And I think that comes, of course, with changing the venue for the first time.
Right.
There were a lot of small things that they can improve on, but if they improve on that, they can make it a big show.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that theater was freaking super nice.
Yeah.
I think they had way more employees at the Planet Hollywood Theater than they really needed. There
Hmm.
was a lot of employees there and security and stuff, and it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, but it was the first time, so you got
Mhm.
some grace there. I had no problem with the Paris or the any of the other places or that. I thought it was cool that number one we still got to have Vegas because
Mhm.
they had to they had to rush to get that done. And so
Mhm.
let me ask you this: you've won Vegas what, three times?
Two times.
Two times.
Uh-huh.
And so at this, and look, I think everybody can agree that winning Vegas is a career maker.
Oh
Now,
yeah.
there are some people who have not necessarily fulfilled that legacy, but at this stage of your career, there's really nothing more that's going to make your career any more justified or tangible or legendary than you've already done it. And so at this stage, what is your drive? Because winning Vegas a third time will be great,
Hmm.
but it's not going to make Mike Schloesser's career. You've already done that. And so the motivation to climb certain mountains is what drives elite level athletes like yourself.
Hmm.
So what is your motivation at this stage of your career?
I think I'm still like the same as when I started. Just every day I want to become a little bit better. So it doesn't matter if it's practice range or whatever. I just want to get better every day, day by day. And I think that's the drive that I have. And I think my biggest drive is just enjoying it. Like I really enjoy archery. It doesn't matter if I'm competing or shooting in my backyard. I love shooting my bow. So I think that's a big difference as well to some other people. Um, but like you said, like I don't like I think I've written the legacy and I just trying to extend it. And that's kind of also like cool, like just to extend my number one status for as long as I can, because of course, like you said, there are hot prospects coming up, and just see how long I can ride it out and just build on that legacy.
Absolutely. So I can remember having chit chats. Like I shared a picture one time from the floor of the arena at South Point when it was you, Jesse, and Chris Perkins were getting ready to shoot off in Vegas.
Mhm.
And, you know, you were much younger.
Oh yeah.
You were much younger then. And, Perkins was, colorful. And Jesse, of course, is just a very, very cool customer as well. And so I had talked with you and Jesse at the time about your guys's, I don't want to, it's not even a rivalry, and we've talked about it here, the number of times
Mm,
when Jesse faced each other and it was just like epic battles,
yeah.
regardless of who won. Obviously, you always want to win, and so does Jesse.
Hmm.
But when you look at the current crop, whether it's Bodie, Matthias, or whoever it may be, when you look at folks, competitors nowadays, there has to be some people that fire you up a little extra, a little bit more, like the Jessies back in the day.
Hmm.
Jesse had that with Dave at Outdoor Nationals. When it came to outdoor field nationals here in America, Jesse and Dave, I've never seen a higher level of competitiveness. And so, and that's not to take anything away from, any of the other people that shot field well, but those two had a thing. And so for you, when you look at this current crop of archers, whether it's indoors or outdoors, who gives you that little extra bit of motivation when you go against them?
I think Matthias, of course, is one because we're like number one and number two in the world. So that's always like a cool competition as well. Like we'll be seeing which one is the better one at the moment. Also, there it's probably like close to a 50-50. So I've been edging him the last couple of competitions, but he did edge me a couple times last year. So it's about a 50-50 as well. And I think Nicolas Girard as well. Like me and him also very evenly matched at the moment. And I think that that kind of, yeah. helps us elevate our competitions as well.
Absolutely. And so, uh, when it comes to, kind of where your career is at this point, do you consider yourself, and I know back in the day you wanted to be good and still shooting 30 tournaments a year. Do you consider yourself a better outdoor FIDA shooter or a better indoor shooter? Yeah, you're great at both.
Oh,
Don't get me wrong,
yeah.
but
I always felt like that was a better indoor shooter than outdoors. Um, but my thing why I'm so good at outdoors is that I can really manage the crazy conditions well. So the windier it gets, the more joy I have. So I think that's the thing that elevates me in my 50-meter game. It's just the crazy conditions. They don't phase me. They don't bother me. It's just like they're enjoying it, and I'm really well at that. So I think that's why. But like an indoor is just like I really enjoy it. So I think that's the reason why I enjoy 80 meters more.
yeah, absolutely. So, all right, man, let's talk Olympics. And so, this has been something that's been happening. For those of you that didn't listen to the other podcasts, the selection is only going to be 12 teams. America will get an
Mm-hmm.
at-large bid because it's here. It's not a
Mm-hmm.
favoritism thing. It's just the way it works. And then the five uh, continental games champions will get berths, and then this other six will be based off of world rankings. Now, when this all first started dropping, folks like myself were like, what are Ella and Mike going to do? Now, folks, this was last year, not recently. So we're not trying to disrespect anybody. Um, Obviously, Ella's teammate, I was going to say partner, but teammate, AJ has started shooting. He's made a lot of progress this year. So looks like she has someone solid because I mean, look, we were literally like, holy shit, the number one man and woman, what partners are they going to have to compete on so Ella's is coming up. You have Sona, is that correct?
Sana, yep.
Sana. Um,
Mm-hmm.
she has started shooting better as well. So kind of give us your thoughts. Obviously, if this was a full field of compound archery in the Olympics, you would make it because you're Mike Schloesser. But
Mm-hmm.
because it's a mixed team event, you're going to rely your participation in this first ever compound in the Olympics is going to be determined. I'm just going to assume for the sake of argument, you're going to do what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Your participation in the Olympics in LA 2028 are going to depend on your female partner, teammate. And
Mm-hmm.
so talk a little bit about that relationship and how she has been doing in the mixed team events and how you see things in the Netherlands going over the next year or two leading up to that Olympic moment.
So for us, the biggest difference is hopefully we're gonna get some funding. So in the past, we've been all self-funded, and Sana, my teammate, she got her own house. She is living together with her partner as well now, and she's just didn't have the funds to go to competitions anymore. So she is a fierce competitor. I knew that before as well, and but the reason why she wasn't competing was just because she couldn't afford to go to competitions.
Ah,
Because like realistically, at this moment, the World Cup is about €2,500, probably $2,500 ish. So if you want to do the whole season, you're like putting about 10 grand out of your own pocket into your competitions.
right.
And somebody like Sana that living together, just bought a house together with a partner, it just you don't have that, like it's a lot of money to just spend on something that you rather would maybe spend money on a holiday with your partner, or just maybe even remodeling a house or whatever. So
Right.
the biggest issue was just the funding, and at this now stage now, I of course had a lot of offers for different countries, that they wanted me to come to shoot for their country, but I would need to take a year off, and I don't know. Like at this moment, I don't see it worth it because I would lose my world one ranking and everything. So our biggest thing is just we need to get funding for her and us as a team. So I think that's the first priority for us as the Team Netherlands to find funding to go to those competitions and to work on our world ranking. And I think I know Sana for a long time now. We've been mixed team partners for a long while now, and I know what she's capable of, and I know what we are capable of as a team. So I'm not worried about not making it at the end.
Okay. And is there any, and obviously I am not fully up to speed. I have a fly in here. Um, I got it because I'm a ninja. I'm not familiar with the rest of the female compound archers in the Netherlands, so I don't mean to disrespect her or anyone else. How many potential teammates do you see other than her within the Netherlands female compound contingent that could potentially make a run to be your partner for the games?
I think looking towards the 28 games, the 28 LA games, it's probably only her. We have a couple talented people, but one of them is really young. And I think being at that age is just, you're not going to be ready at 28. So I think, of course, I hope that she proves me wrong. But at this moment, I only see myself and her as a viable option as a mixed team partner for 28.
Okay.
Because of course you need to qualify. Actually, like you already need to start next year because your world ranking is going to be important.
Right.
This where going to the majority of like the best chances is your world ranking, because like winning an Asian or European games is hard, especially because it's only have one spot.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think like the only the real reason for us is going to be world ranking, and that's going to be where we need to be looking at, and that starts next year already. So like next year, like you're going to build as a team, and that's I think the only reasonable option for us is me, myself, and Sana.
Yeah, and so have you and her had any of these conversations yet? Is there any sort of discussions between the two of you where it's like, hey, look, we're and the only reason I bring this up is Ella said she basically called AJ and said, you step your shit up because we're going to go to the Olympics. And so have you and Sana had any of those conversations about the future?
Of course, like I got a lot of offers after it became official. I would say somewhere in April, I think if it was now, probably like 3-4 months ago. And it became official. Like, of course, I had a talk with her because I got some offers. And if she, like, in my opinion, if she didn't say like, yes, I'm gonna go for it, I would have needed to explore other options. Indeed, like if I wanted to do, if it was like important for me to make it. And we had a discussion about it, like, are you interested in it? And she was like, yeah, like I would like to go and put like a little bit of fire into me to start competing again and stuff like that. And then we, of course, had our talk with our Olympic committee and our federation. And as of how it looks now, we're going to get some funding for the World Cups and some training camps. So there's going to be some funding available.
Nice.
And I think that's very important for, like, not necessarily for me, but more for her, because she's like depending on that funding to make the World Cups that are important.
Yeah, absolutely. So other than Luna, of course, because she is the pinnacle of everything you'll ever do in your life till you have another, and then there'll be two on the very top. So Luna notwithstanding, would anything archery wise that you have accomplished in your career, Vegas included, World Cups, it doesn't matter, will anything measure up to winning an Olympic gold medal?
I think I can see it. Of course, I can see it with my wife because she has the experience of winning a medal at the games. I think it's hard to. I think like winning an Olympic medal compares nothing to Vegas, for example. Like I think like winning Olympic medal is just the pinnacle of our sport. And I think that nothing is going to be able to beat that, because you're going to be known not just inside the archery world, but also like you will be known all over the world. And that's the difference between winning Vegas. Of course, for us, like it's our Wimbledon, but the Olympics still people know more about the Olympics than Wimbledon, for example. So I think it's a difference of like being known inside the sport or outside the sport, and I think that's the difference between Vegas and the games.
Oh, absolutely. I can remember years ago talking to Brady Ellison, and we were talking about the pressure of Vegas and this and that, and Brady goes, "Pressure in Vegas? Nah. Once you've stepped on the Olympic stage to shoot for your country in the Olympics, every other archery event doesn't have any pressure. That is a level of pressure." And he's right.
I
The
think so as well. Yeah.
the Olympics is everything. And it's like I've said, you can be in the shoot off in Vegas and look over and see a big camera lens. Yeah, that's cool.
Hmm.
But when you're in the Olympics and you look over and see the same camera lens with an NBC Sports logo on it and the Olympic rings, that kind of hits different. And so what would it mean to Mike to actually not just participate in the Olympics, but bring home that gold? Where
Uh, I think at this moment it's maybe a little bit early on still to think about that, but I think for me it wouldn't change that much because I think I had an amazing run in my career so far, and that it wouldn't be defined by winning a medal or not at the game. So I think I'm just enjoying the ride and see how far it brings. And of course, I want to win that Olympic gold medal, but I'm satisfied with what I've done in the sport so far, and I think I'm just ready to accept if I not win a medal.
that, folks, right there is the most elite level mental management answer you are ever going to hear in your entire life. Swear to God, like literally, that is an elite level mental management answer. Write that one down, folks. That was awesome. And so, all right, let's talk about what else Mike does. Number one, what other hobbies? Now, I'm looking at your headphones. For those of you
Yeah.
that are listening to this, Mike is in what looks to be a pretty badass chair, and he's wearing a
Yeah.
set of yeah, right. And he's wearing a set of headphones with a microphone on it that aren't consumer grade. They're not normal. And so what else does Mike do besides be a good husband, have have a dope kid, and shoot a bunch of X's? What else does Mike do for fun?
Of fun. So I do play a lot of video games. I like that a lot. It kind of puts my mind to something else, just enjoying my here and there. And I started playing padel like a couple months ago. So that's something that I do as well.
Playing what?
Padel. It's kind of
Okay.
like it's like like I think it's most popular in Europe, but it's like kind of tennis, but inside a court. It's like a combination of tennis with squash.
Oh, pickleball.
Pickleball. Yeah, it's kind of like pickleball, but it's called padel. It's the European version of pickleball.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. How good are you at that?
Not good at all. Like just like I just enjoy it. So I feel like I'm getting better at it, but I'm just enjoying it. So
Oh, that was hilarious. What video games are you I don't play any video games, folks. I could throw out like GTA 6 or 7 out, but what's your preferred video game of choice?
so I play a lot of Counter Strike, and I'm actually pretty good at it as well. So that's something that I really enjoy. I met a couple of friends online, and we play almost every evening when I'm at home. We just meet up on the TeamSpeak or Discord channel, and then just hit it up and play some video games.
There you go. Awesome, man. Well, hey, dude, I appreciate you spending some time with us today. I always enjoy our conversations when we see each other at events and stuff. And
Mhm.
and I, congratulations on the medal this week.
Thank you.
Congratulations on Luna, of course. That's the pinnacle of every man's life is, and having a daughter too. Woo, I have both.
Yeah.
I have both sons and daughters, and
Uh-huh.
you're in for a treat, brother.
Oh yeah. I hope she doesn't get the the how you say this, like the part of Gabi from the feistiness, the Latina feistiness.
She's gonna.
Oh yeah, I'm afraid so.
She's
I'm
gonna.
afraid so.
Yeah. So anyway, hey man, I appreciate it. Let everybody out there know where they can keep up with Mike Schloesser on the World Wide Web.
Just follow me on Instagram, and I think that's the majority of things that I do is will be posted on there.
There you go. And I had saw that you had done something with YouTube. Is that something you're going to continue to work with, or is
Yeah,
time a thing?
time is definitely a factor, but I definitely want to start up a YouTube channel. I have a couple videos ready that are gonna be probably at the end of the year. I will probably be more consistent because I uploaded a video, and it was well received. But I think like I need to put like some scheduling to it, and I think that it's necessary to have a couple videos ready to just do it every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and just keep a schedule to it.
There you go. All right, buddy. I appreciate it. That's Mike Schloesser right there, everybody. He is the reigning #1 FIDA shooter in the world. He's on the GOAT discussion, period. If he's not on your GOAT discussion, especially for indoors and FIDA, you need to get your head checked. But not only that, I mean, look, being a great shooter is one thing, but I've always enjoyed our conversations. He's a smart kid. He's got a good sense of humor. He doesn't take himself too seriously. Like I can remember, it had to be a decade ago at the Dakota Classic. Him and I were going to face each other in the matches, and so we did a stupid little face-off picture of me and him. And of course, he thumped my ass because he's way better. But he likes to have fun with stuff like that, and I appreciate that. And I think bringing him on the podcast today has really exposed a lot of you to the fact that he knows his shit, and that's important. It's important to me because, I mean, obviously, look, winning is what it is. That's his job. But I've known lots of pros that have won that other people tuned their bows for him and other people did stuff. But so it's great for you guys to be able to see that Mike knows his stuff. You know, he's married to an Olympian as well. And so Mike's not just a pretty face that shoots a bunch of X's. He actually knows what he's doing with his equipment, with his arrows and all that kind of stuff. And I appreciate that because I'm a nerd. So I appreciate it when someone at his level is extremely competent when it comes to their equipment. And so I appreciate that. He's, you know, look, when you see Mike at an event, and he goes to 30 of them, you know, look, man, go up and say hi to the guy, not while he's shooting, of course, that would be weird, but go up and ask him questions and interact with them. That's one of the things about our sport that is so unique is, look, if you try to walk up to Tiger Woods just randomly and have a chat with them, 4 dudes my size are going to carry you out by your face. But in archery, you can practice next to Mike. You can, I don't necessarily know if you're going to be shooting for score next to Mike, but you can practice next to him. You can see him in hallways. You can see him at booths. Have a conversation with the guy. Ask him questions. He knows his stuff. And so that part is, ask him about his video games. If you want to cheat, I'm sure he has some of those as well. But that's going to be the podcast for today, folks. I loved that conversation. He's a great kid. So be sure to go follow him on the social media stuff. And whatever you're doing this week, folks out there, it's really hot out here on the West Coast. I don't know what it's doing elsewhere, but be sure to hydrate. Be sure to do everything you can to be safe out there. You guys know the drill. We want to hear from you, not about you. And as always, love, peace, and chicken grease.